Hey there, sweet friends. This is Gina. Welcome to the Rebookery channel. I survived the blizzard of 2018. Wow, a blizzard in November. That is just crazy. That's just crazy. It's crazy. Okay, so because I survived it and because I have a snow day today, that means I have an extra day of crafting, which means I can make a video that I've been wanting to make for quite a while now. So I've been wanting to do a follow-up video to the Christmas junk binder journals, and I also want to do a flip through of my junk planner. So we'll see if I can get it all in one video. If it's too long, I'll split it up, but I'm going to try to get it all in one. And I apologize again. I am battling a cold, and so that's why my voice sounds the way it does. Okay, so let's talk Christmas junk binder journals. I hope you guys are doing well in yours. I know it's getting ready to be December, and hopefully you guys have all your pages put together and you're coming up with creative ways to use the supplies that came in the kit. I'm going to show you guys a couple of things that I have learned how to do over the years because I have made, once I quit doing the 12 by 12 scrapbooking and buying like commercial products and stuff, I made my scrapbooks so that they would fit in these binders. So I have a whole bunch of binders. I probably have 5 or 6 of these binders that became my scrapbooks. And they actually, this was when Project Life thing was going on, where you would like do something every day or whatever, and so I kind of did my own little spin on that. So anyway, this is one of them. I just pulled one out, and so I'm going to walk you through and show you a couple of hints, tips, and tricks that I have learned and things that make scrapbooking in this type of a binder so much easier, and hopefully doesn't cost you a lot of money. So the first thing is that I love these binders because I just put the raw page in. Like, I don't have to worry about page protectors, and that was one of the huge drawbacks to doing scrapbooking, like 12 by 12 scrapbooking stuff, because there were like rules, and you know, you had to have everything in a page protector, and page protectors were expensive. I have tons of them left over because I would just hoard them. And I just didn't like my stuff being behind that plastic. I wanted it to be out. I wanted it to be tangible. I wanted my my audience to interact with, which I'm the audience, but I wanted to be able to interact and to touch things. So that's one of the beauties of using these binders, is that it's so flexible, because in your journal kit, like your Christmas journal kit, remember I showed you guys how to use the actual pages that came in the cookbook. So use those. You can either use those as an actual page, like I did here, or you use it as a guide. So remember, we used these holes as our template. So once you figure that out, you can make your pages out of anything, any paper, any scrapbook paper, cardstock, junk mail. All you have to do is use this as a template. So one of the things that you want to make sure when you're making your own pages is that you get them the right size. Now, that's kind of a trick that I had to figure out after lots of trial and error. So if you look at how, let me make sure this is in frame. If you look at my book here, you can see how I have an edge over here where there's a little bit of room between where my pages end and the edge of the book. But when I close this, because this is a binder, that changes. And so I'll put it this way so you guys can see. So that changes because the way the binders are set up is that they have an O-ring, and so all the pages will come towards the center. Well, when they come towards the center, now look, I don't have that allowance anymore. In fact, my pages are actually coming outside of my journal, which I'm okay with that because, well, I'm okay with it because there's not a lot I can do about it. But when you go to make your pages, you don't want to make your pages be this length right here. It has to be from the edge of the binder, so that ring right there, to the edge of your book, because that's ultimately, when you close it, that's where your pages are going to be. So let me see if I can show you guys again. So when you open it and it lays like this, I have allowances right here because they're out on the side. But when I close it, and this seems to be the best way to show you. When I close it, I'm going to pull all my papers forward, and now I have to have a page that's going to go from the edge of the ring all the way to the edge of the book, and if I don't, it will hang out the side. So that's one trick that I learned, and that was just trial and error that I learned that. Another thing that I did was I would find that they, at the time I was doing this, which this was when my son went to college, so I'm trying to think. It wasn't 1991. Oh, 2014. Okay, so this is from 2014. So at the time of doing this, around 2014, there was a lot of these small types of binders that you could get like at Michael's or Hobby Lobby, things like that. And so while I didn't buy the binders, this one was on clearance, so I did get that. What I did do was I would use the pages that, like, it would come in a kit, so I think that came in a kit, and so there were some papers that were hole punched to fit into that particular binder. So I didn't want it in that binder, I wanted it in this binder. So what I did was I just repunched the holes. I used my template and I just punched some holes. And I'm okay that there were extra holes left over from when the company had punched their holes. I'm all right with that. See, because it doesn't bother me. An extra hole totally does not bother me. To me, that just makes this that much more unique. So I'm okay with that. I got over the whole thing about my holes have to be perfect and all that good stuff. So using already made kits and turning them into something that can adapt to this binder, that is another tip. Okay, so then on these same lines of using these small little binders, and I'll be honest, guys, I haven't been to Michael's or what's the other one? Oh, I can't even think. Oh, Hobby Lobby, sorry. Michael's or Hobby Lobby for scrapbooking supplies in a really long time, so I don't know what's out there. But back in 2014, they had a lot of these kits, and they would have a lot of these small page protectors. And so this brand, let me see here. I don't know what the brand name of this one is because it doesn't have it on there. But then I know this one right here is Becky Higgins. So this was that Project Life brand. So, and I'm not telling you to go out and buy these. I'm just saying that if you happen to see some of these in clearance or something, they can be adapted to be used into your binder, and I'm going to show you how. So these guys were designed to fit in whatever binder that company made, whatever size binder. So I wanted them to fit into my binder, okay? And I know because this is old and this is brand new, they're not going to match up perfectly, and I'm okay with that. I kind of got over that. So what I would do is I would just take my template, so I'm just going to use this right here as my template, and then I would line it up, and I'd see, are there any holes that are going to actually work? So my middle hole will actually work, but this one is going to be off, and this one is going to be off, and these have 3 holes, and my binder has 5 holes. So once I matched it up and I found out my spacing, and it's a little tricky to do this because your page protector is kind of slick, so I would use paper clips and kind of clamp it down. I would take my hole punch and I would punch in my new holes, and there you go, boom, I've got a page protector that I can now slip into this binder. So you can modify those page protectors as long as you've got a good hole punch, you can totally modify it. So let me see if I can pull, here's one right here. Okay, so here's one that I modified, and you can see it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It has 6 holes, so my holes didn't match up. I'm going to have an extra hole. I'm okay with that. And then I was able to slip pictures in. So maybe not all of my things needed to be in, you know, this page like this where it was open. Maybe I just wanted to slide in some photos, and so then those page protectors, they worked out pretty well. I liked this. So here's another one, and those page protectors, they have different designs. So like this is one that has 2 4x6s, and if you've never used these page protectors, they just slide in and out either from the top or from the side. So There you go. This is when all of my kids still lived at home, so I was still taking pictures a lot and doing a lot of, my son was still in soccer, and I was just doing a lot of memory keeping. Okay, so here's another one. And this I know I found in clearance. So this was just some little scrapbook that was in clearance, and it was really small, but I loved this page protector because, I don't know, it was just kind of cool. So I took it and again, matched it up with my holes, and then had to punch new holes, and then look at that. Now I have this cool little page protector that just kind of is some weird size. So you can do that, and you can modify things that are already out there on the market. You can modify those to fit into your binder. So this is a piece of some clear plastic, and it looks like I just sewed down my pictures. Boy, I got all kinds of fancy sewing here. This was when the Royals went to the World Series, and so our whole city had turned green, I'm looking at that, green. It had turned blue. So yeah, and then, yeah, there, oh, here's another page from the actual cookbook. So this, I just took the page from the actual cookbook and I just modified it. I added a little extra scrapbook paper on the end here, and just did some journaling right on top, some photos, some collage. Here's another actual page from the cookbook. So yeah, with these, oh yeah, look, here's all of them. So with these pages from the binder cookbooks, you can do so many cool things with them. I love these binders because you can make them more modern by using like these page protectors, or you can make them whatever you want by using your own papers, or you can keep with the actual pages that are in the cookbook and kind of, you know, do your own thing. And here's the deal. You just have to kind of get over the whole thing of, well, my holes are going to be perfect. Nothing is perfect. So as long as you're okay with you having an extra hole or your holes being off a little bit, then you're fine. One thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was, let's say your hole punch is not, I think the hole punches that came in my kit were 5/16, and a lot of you guys were having trouble finding them. I know, I was having trouble finding them too. So what will happen is if you don't have a 5/16, that's okay. You can use a 1/4 inch hole punch. All you have to do is when you punch your holes, just slightly move over to the side and punch another hole right on top of this one so that it allows a little extra room. So I'd punch my hole here, and then I'd move over just a smidge and punch another little hole to allow a little extra room. And when you put your pages in, you'll see where it's rubbing against. You can look at the binder rings and see, oh, that one's rubbing against that side. So I'm just going to go and punch a little hole over to the side, punch out a little bit of that paper, and give it a little bit extra room. Okay, so there is, oh, glue stick rolling around. There is my junk binder update. Hope you guys are doing well on yours. Going through this one really makes me want to do a junk binder again, but I have too many journals. Okay, now let's talk about junk planners. Okay, so how is your junk planner? Here's what mine's looking like, and mine actually has some stuff in it. Let's see. There we go. All right, so this is stuff from some shopping I did the other day, but yeah, so this is what mine's looking like. It's getting full. And of course the spine is doing some splitting, and that's okay. And I've had to do some repair work, but I'm a-okay with that. All right, so let's take a look and see what I have going on in here. And again, guys, remember, this is my journal that I sit on the couch. I have it and a bowl of markers right next to me, and I just glue and doodle and put little bits of things into it from the day. So it looks finished, like these guys look finished, but that's because these were the ones that I started with. So like this was my month of, I don't even know what month this was. Oh my gosh, was this? So this had to have been August. Yeah, this was August. So here was August, and I know you can't even tell it's a calendar anymore, but that, oh no, it wasn't. This is July. Wow. And if you remember, I started like in the middle of the month. So what I did was, as I wrote down all of my appointments and stuff, I would sit down and just journal over it or doodle over it or add little stickers or add little papers or bits from the day. So it was a planner, and then it evolves and it turns into a journal, if that makes any sense. I know it's kind of weird. I can't even explain how it happens. And so just a reminder, here would be a blank month. So here is January. This is a blank month. All I've done is put my dates and stuff on here. It's pretty messy. And so throughout the month, I will go from blank to adding things to completing it. So like this is November, it's almost done. I've just got a few more days left, and I may or may not complete it. Like for my October, let me show you October. For October was so busy. So like this whole part stayed empty well into November, and then I finally went back in and I finished it, but I didn't have to. It's really, there are no rules on this. So let me go back and we'll do a flip through. So this is July. This was my August, and August was so busy. So I had an envelope in here, and then in the envelope, I just had a tag. And if I do, like, if I do any thrifting or something, I always like to put whatever I did. If I bought something, I always like to put the price tag or something in here. This was just a journal spread. So this was just a spread where I played around with paint. It evolved. It took a long time to do this because I would do paint, and then I'd come back a couple weeks later and I'd put in stickers, and I'd come back a couple weeks later. And just the other day, I actually added this little poem on this tag. So it's like it evolves. It never ends. I just will get it out, and I'll start finding a space, and I just start doing whatever journaling I want. This was my September, and it was busy. So I have some little illustrations here. I have some stickers, lots of appointments. And then for this one, we put in, if you remember, we put in the little sticky notes so that we could write on top and underneath. This was me sitting on the deck one day, and I just was playing around with markers and pens and stickers. And I think I showed this to you. This was a fold out I made with some photos. So this was just, I was feeling a little nostalgic that day, and found some old photos of my first years of teaching. And then this is a note from a beautiful friend. I'm just going to tuck that in. So again, this evolved. So I love the moon. Anytime there's a really cool moon out, I like to give my interpretation of them. So this moon that happened to be, whenever this was, I'm going to say this was September. Oh, there we go. It was August 25th. So I like to give my interpretation of the moon. Here is my October, and it was crazy busy. And so there's just a lot of stuff, remnants from a thrift shopping trip that I did, some stuff I bought for my classroom, a tag from some clothing my daughter, or a necklace my daughter got me, a vintage card, and just I've got notes and stuff written all over it of things that I needed to do or things that I needed to take care of. This was a night where my husband and I just sat on the deck and listened to Elton John, and it was just a beautiful night, and we just stayed out there like the whole night looking at stars and stuff. It was kind of cool. And then over here, oh, this is where I had gotten a bunch of scratch and sniff stickers, so I put them all on here. And then I wrote a little review on a new donut place that came to Kansas City, and so I stuck that in there. So I had to go through and add tape in the center of a lot of my pages, because as it gets bigger, the spine can't handle the pressure anymore. So just adding some tape. This was some decorative tape. I think I got this at Dollar Tree, but just using, I use masking tape a lot. So this was just a note from a sweet friend, and the envelope that she sent it in. And I think I've already showed you guys this. This is just some tags from some Happy Mail. and just some packaging and stuff that I've had throughout the week. This was me coming home, and I was in a funk of just listening to Jesus Christ Superstar, my favorite musical of all time, and the original, like the original. So this was me just sitting at home one day. I think it was a Friday after school. Had the stereo blaring, and so I was just, as I was singing and doodling, I was writing down the lyrics to the songs, because yeah, I don't know, that's just something I do. Here's some doodling I just did on a tag here from some packaging from some shoes that my husband got. So here is November. And again, it starts off plain. It'll start off like this, and then I just start adding stuff. And so one night I may just sit down and put dots on my paper, and that's okay. Another night I may sit down and I may put lines. If I have stickers or something, I'll add those. This came out of one of my Christmas catalogs. This came from a Christmas catalog. So in the in my video yesterday that I made, I was showing you guys that I put in 3 pages from Montgomery Ward's Christmas catalog. So here's how I would use those images, is I just cut them out and I would put them in as almost as like they're pictures. And so this was a Christmas tree, and just, I don't know, some things that I'd been thinking about, things that reminded me of growing up during that time in the 70s and 80s. Just a little piece of wallpaper that I found, and then the moon. Oh my gosh, the moon this weekend was full before we had the blizzard. And so I put that in here, and this piece, this cake here, this old cake image that came from a recipe book, says Thanksgiving on it, and so that's supposed to interpret my moon. And so down here I have to put the blizzard, and I'm gonna have to figure out how I want to put the blizzard on here. So this is my December, and you can see I've already started with my December. This was one night I was just doodling with some pins, some packaging that I get from, I ordered some books from a really cool Etsy shop. This is some packaging from, actually, you know what? I think I'll just leave it there. So this is some packaging from some clothing I bought, and since it's going to stick there, we'll just leave it there. So this is a page that I've been working on for quite a while. This has actually evolved 2 or 3 times. And I just needed to get some stuff off my chest the other day, and so I took this page, and it was this image right here that drew me in, and I just I needed to get some things out. I needed to write some things down. So I wrote, I painted, I collaged, I put stickers, I used my white pen, and I feel so much better. And yeah, and it tells a story. Like, there is a whole story here that I know just because I can look at the images and stuff. So this is a blank page that I have. January, February. This was some notes I had taken for school. So I've been doing a lot of changes and stuff with my teaching this year, and so there was a lot of learning and a lot of new ideas and stuff that I needed to get into my head. And so this is where I started taking all these notes, and it's okay. I can make them pretty. I can put work things in this journal, and they can still be pretty and still make me happy. So I could cover these up if I want to. I've gone into a whole separate notebook for my school stuff, or I could just leave it like it is. And I honestly like the way it is, so I might just leave it like it is. Here's March. I don't know if I'm going to keep this a calendar page. I may end up in, if I feel like painting one day, I may end up and paint this. So you can see where it's split right here. So what I'm going to do is I will just go ahead and take a piece of masking tape, and I'll just run a piece of masking tape right here, because you can see how it's splitting, and that's okay. I'm fine with that. And you can see here's where I put a piece of masking tape. This is a note from a student, and then here was a page where I had taken a day off of work. I had to go do some doctor's appointments and stuff, and so before I was going, I'd already painted it. I think I did a video on the painting, but this was just some collage and some memories that I had going through my head that day. And so all of these pieces help tell that story. And so somebody looking at it may not know what the story is, but when I look at it, I know. This is my daughter. This is my middle son. This is my youngest son. This was our house. And so there's just a story that is told there. And whenever I look at this, it makes me happy. So this is a page I did the other day. And I was in a really sad place. It was not a good day. And so for it to turn out as pretty as this, because I like this, I think this is really cool. And so my thinking was, this is like it just evolved, but I had all these little scraps of paper that had stamps and stuff on it. And so I put them on here, and I always love drawing houses. So I was like, all right, let me make sure I'm in frame here. Let's turn these into houses. And so this probably took me 3 hours, and it was just sitting on the couch, drinking coffee, watching TV. I think this was the day before Thanksgiving. And I just had a few little pieces of paper and my markers and pens and stuff. And I just totally turned this into this really cool page. And you can see this is an envelope. So it started with an envelope and stamps, and then all the rest of this was just little bits that I had. So the one thing, once I finish this, the one thing I know that I want is right here. I thought it would be cool to put a Santa Claus flying his sleigh right here, because my thinking, my story on this was, I was, one of those days feeling sorry for yourself type of thing, and I was thinking about my children and grown children, and I don't know, I just kept thinking, okay, where will they end up? Where will they live? Will they be in an apartment? Will they be in a big city? Will they be out in the country? Will they have a big house? Will they have a small house? And so that's kind of the thought process behind this. And so as I was doing that, I was thinking, well, where will Santa know where they are? Because I was trying to make it a little playful. It was a little heavy, and I was trying to think, okay, instead of where will my kids end up, I was turning it into, will Santa be able to find them? So I've looked and looked and looked, and I cannot find the right size Santa in his sleigh to go here, but I think I have a solution. So when I was putting together those kits, those 1980s Christmas kits, I noticed that one of the pieces of paper had Santa in his sleigh. And although it's a little big, I think it will actually go really well there. I think it'll work. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out, and we're going to see if it fits. All right, so I don't know if I like that or not. It's awful big, but I can't find anything smaller. Maybe if I trim some of this away. I just do not have the patience to cut around all of these little reindeers and their antlers and their cute little faces, so it's just gonna get a real messy chop job here, and I'm all right with that. All right, I'm all right with that. Yeah, looks good. So now let's get a glue stick. My glue set here on my desk by the window, and it got really cold last night, so my glue is cold and kind of stuck. Okay, there we go. All right. So now, make sure I'm in frame here. So this was kind of what I was thinking was like the moon. And so we'll put Santa flying over the moon. There. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. So now I can go and I can outline this if I want. I can doodle over it, or I might just leave it the way it is. I don't know. I think it's kind of cute. So anyway, there you go. That's that page. And then this page over here, it's a book page from a Bambi book. This is a big produce sticker, so I think my husband actually just bought the pumpkins so I could have that sticker because he knows how much I love the stickers. And then this was me just writing some poetry down. sometimes I just like to sit and copy down poems. I love Christina Rossetti is one of my favorite poets, and so I just love her poems. And so this was one day where one of her poems was just stuck in my head, and so I just wrote it down. This is a pocket that I actually made a long time ago, and then it's turned into a flap with some book pages and some stickers and stuff. And then here is something I did the other day too. So when I bought my scratch and sniff stickers, I kept the packaging because one, it smells good, and two, I don't know, it's cool. It's kind of cool cards. And so that same day that I was making this, actually I think this was Thanksgiving. So on Thanksgiving, I took this and I took some book pages again. I had very, very minimal supplies. I had a couple pieces of fabric, a couple book pages, and just some random cutouts that I had laying on my desk. And I put together this little collage on this tag, and it's in my mind, this is telling a story. Like this is me and my husband, and this is telling a cool story. And whenever I look at this, it makes me happy. And so I'm just gonna tuck that into this little pocket that I've made right here. And then when I get the gumption to do another one, I have another little tag that's good to go. And then here's the back page, and there's the end of my book. So yeah, it's filling up. I don't know how much more I'll be able to do in it. I still have like a bunch of remnants of things that I still need to put in. And I don't know, I may go, I think it goes until April. I may go until April. I don't know. I may end up and turn this into a paint page. I may start a new planner. I don't know. I don't know. Right now, I'm feeling the love on it, and I think I'm gonna just keep going, and we'll just see whatever happens. So how are you doing in your junk planner? Let me know in the comments below. Remember, if you post it on Instagram, just hashtag the Rebookery and tag me in it. And I always like to see what you guys create, and I get so excited when I see somebody's planner and it looks like this, because I'm like, oh yeah, they're using a junk planner. So I think that's pretty awesome, and it's just like no stress. That's like the best thing in the world. All right, kids, thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope you are healthy. I hope you are happy, and I hope you do something creative today. I'll see you soon. Bye.